kitu, hata kufua nguo na aerial mpya. Unaniamini sasa?
Aerial huondoa madoa sugu kwa mosho mmoja. Ijaribu leo uamini.
When COVID struck, the healthcare giver was becoming the first line defense. After the public health measures had been overwhelmed, I was approached by Equity Bank to come on board and see what we could do to ensure the healthcare worker was protected to look after the Kenyans. We said, let us sit down and go through virtually everything that was available. What had been made locally was not fit for purpose. Most of what we were getting to see that was fit for purpose was imported. So we asked ourselves, as the supply chain gets strained because the world was in limbo with the long supply lines, what do we do to ensure that when we ask for these supplies as healthcare workers looking after fellow Kenyans, we can have access to them? We were able to have a symposium with over 100 local manufacturers, assisted through the Equity Group, to discuss manufacturing with the specifications that were desired. We suddenly had things being made locally here, whereby we could walk to the factory, have a discussion on why this is not right, on how to improve. And I'm grateful also for the team of the specialist nurses and clinical officers, because we would make many journeys to these companies to have a look at the material, to have a look at the production. We made things that I myself would comfortably wear to look after patients that have COVID. That to me, it's something that really Kenyans should be proud of.
Please eat your breakfast.
Look, Ma, he lost his cape.
Not all superheroes wear capes. There are heroes all around us, like the ones that bring nutrition to millions of us every day.
Wow, am I a hero too?
Yes, you do. And your dad. He goes to the farm every day to make sure his grain is of high quality.
Superheroes have their own sidekick. Does Dad have his own sidekick?
Yes, they are his partners. They take the grain and produce this nutri that you love so much. Then it gets the local supermarket and we buy it from there. Nutri makes us stronger and healthier.
Strong like a superhero.
Yes, son. But do you know why your dad and his sidekicks are superheroes?
Because they make Nutri.
Every spoonful of Nutri comes loaded with the necessary vitamins, protein and minerals for you and your family to become healthier and stronger. Pick up a pack today from your nearest store. Nutri. Every spoonful counts.
Really good.
The aerial challenge is moving across Kenya, improving Kenyans' lives by saving them money, offering brilliant stain removal in one wash.
Wino ni mojawapo wa madoa sugu ambayo hayatoki kwa nguo, sio?
Let us see which detergent removes stubborn stains.
Na tofauti kwa hizi vitambaa zangu mbili. Kitambaa gani imeokoa pesa kina mama?
Napenda aerial kwa sababu mwosho wake ni mmoja tu. Hata ndio hii nimenunua mara yangu ya kwanza.
Watch out for the aerial challenge coming to a town near you.
Enjoy Good Life new shopping experience. Seek and you shall find. Visit www.goodlife.co.ke to shop. Search and pick your preferred product. Check out and give your location details. Pick your payment method and wait for your delivery to arrive. It's quick. Click and pick.
It's been a year with a bit of stress for some, but Naivas is about to make it stress-free for all, most of us at least. Chrissy Bila worries. Chrissy na Naivas is now on with the biggest and tastiest offers this festive season. Every day, 350 winners cooler shopping voucher worth 2,000 shillings. Plus over 800 goats to be won across Naivas branches countrywide. All you need to do is simply present your Naivas card when you shop for your chance to be one of the winners. Funga 2020 Bila Fignon. Chrissy Bila worries. Chrissy na Naivas. Naivas saves you money.
You want your car to perform flawlessly? We set it as our goal to make sure you uncheck your car's engine from your problems list. Forget about residues. Forget about overheating. Forget about corrosion. Our fuel, Optimum, keeps your car's engine as clean as ever for optimal performance. Optimum of Ola Energy, ultimate protection.
Kenya inarekodi kiwango cha chini cha ulemavu ikilinganishwa na asilimia 15 ya ulimwengu. Sensa ya 2019 ilionyesha asilimia 2.5 ya wanawake ni walemavu. Ukosefu wa data huzidisha ubaguzi kwa wanawake walemavu katika sera na programu. Shirika la Disability Trust imetengeneza jukwaa la USSD kukusanya data sahihi ya wanawake walemavu. Kujiandikisha, piga *548# kwenye simu ya rununu.
Wanawake walemavu.
Hesabika.
The aerial challenge is moving across Kenya, improving Kenyans' lives by saving them money, offering brilliant stain removal in one wash.
Wino ni mojawapo wa madoa sugu ambayo hayatoki kwa nguo, sio?
Let us see which detergent removes stubborn stains.
Na tofauti kwa hizi vitambaa zangu mbili. Kitambaa gani imeokoa pesa kina mama?
Napenda Ariel kwa sababu mwosho wake ni mmoja tu. Hata ndio hii nimenunua mara yangu ya kwanza.
Watch out for the aerial challenge coming to a town near you.
Nivea Men Deep Antiperspirant with the power of black carbon formula. 48-hour protection from sweat and bacteria. For a deep, clean feeling that lasts. New Nivea Men Deep Antiperspirant. Nivea Men. It starts with you. Official sponsor of Real Madrid.
This is NTV.
The COVID-19 infections are not relenting. The deaths are rising and the recovery rate has slowed down. The healthcare system is struggling. The frustrated medics are writing on the walls, and it is legible. There is a problem. Not all counties are ready to handle the load at their emergency doors. Schools are partially open, even to the virus. And while many are struggling to breathe, the politics of the day refuses to let the situation breathe. Politicians are battling to keep their profiles alive. Their campaign events have been spreader events, spreading the virus and the culture of impunity and disregard of the very law they vowed to uphold and protect. With a pandemic at hand, what is the way forward? Is the politics a priority, or is it a case of life must go on anyway? Well, we take a look at the dynamics of the pandemic's burden on tonight's team coverage. Our team includes Olive Burrows, Ngina Kirori, Leila Mohammed and Alex Mwangi here in Nairobi, and Kevin Mutai in Mombasa. Team coverage in a moment, but first, these are the day's top stories.
Tonight, 11 deaths, 957 new infections. And a virus hell for frontline heroes. As the pandemic sweeps through the medical ranks, anxiety is growing on the front lines.
At some point, I had given up. I was like, I don't think I'm going to make it.
Also tonight, Another school principal succumbs to COVID-19 in Bungoma. And the tough, painful lessons for learners amid the fight to reclaim the lost school year.
If we don't behave properly, we are going to have a full-blown epidemic in this country.
Plus, 10 feared dead as authorities cast around the lake for survivors of another boat tragedy in Lake Victoria. And also tonight, government to replace national ID cards with Huduma cards.
That is why it's called a single source of truth.
But truth is, there are still a number of concerns.
To be mandatory then for you to produce this card to get services.
NTV Tonight with Smriti Vidyarthi.
Thanks for joining us. Our sign language interpreter tonight is David Agondoa. Let's take you to our top story. And rescuers have recovered the body of one person out of 10 who went missing after a boat capsized in Lake Victoria last night. The body of a middle-aged woman, only identified as Namudama, was pulled out of the water at around midday and taken to Honge Beach in Siaya County as the search for the remaining 9 continues. NTV's Oko Okusa has the latest on the boat tragedy.
The Kenya Revenue Authority vessel carrying the remains of one of the victims of Tuesday night's boat accident, docking here at Honge Beach a few minutes to 1 p.m. The body of Namudama, draped in a blanket, was spotted by rescuers floating just a few meters away from the scene of the tragedy. Stephen Mataya, who survived the 8 p.m. mishap, recounts their last moments before the vessel capsized.
Opere inakuwa mingi zaidi. Inachota maji, inaingia kwa maji chini.
All the passengers, including the coxswain, were tossed out of the vessel into the water.
Sasa si watu watano na mtoto tulikamata juu ya poti. Kama upepo iko mingi tunapika kelele kabisa, tunapika nduru. Kutoka saa hapo 3 ilikuwa bidii nusu hapo mpaka saa 3 hapo watu ya omena wanakuja kuokoa sisi.
There were 20 people, including a 3-year-old boy in the boat. 10 perished, amongst them the coxswain, while 10 survived, including the child.
Na wengine wanakamata vitombolo na ndizi, balikuwa watu 4. Hawa balilokota si wanakuja na sisi mpaka hapa Honge Beach.
The boat originated from a beach known as Nairobi in Uganda, carrying traders of Ugandan origin and an assortment of goods.
Huenda ni kama hawa Waganda wenzetu walikuwa mabeba kupita kiasi. Waliweka mzigo kuzidi kiasi.
Kenya Coast Guard, police, Honge Beach Management Unit officials and Kenya Revenue Authority personnel are leading the search mission for the remaining 9 bodies. Okusa, NTV in Siaya.
Grace to those who have lost their family members. Now, meanwhile, the government plans to phase out the current national ID cards by December next year and replace them with Huduma cards. The Huduma cards will be issued starting next month, and the government says it will be mandatory for anyone seeking services in public offices to have it.
With one card, your details are available. That is why it's called a single source of truth.
Despite concerns about the use of digital ID systems, the government is forging ahead with the Huduma Number initiative. The plan is to phase out the current national identity cards by December 2021 and replace them with the Huduma cards. They will now be issued out starting December 1st this year.
All government offices, we will be using this to provide services to you. To be mandatory then for you to produce this card to get services.
Kutoka December 1, tutatumia watu SMS. Wale ambao kadi ziko tayari tunakutumia SMS. Na hiyo SMS inakwambia kadi yako iko tayari, uingie mahali fulani uchukue hiyo kadi yako, na umepatiwa muda wa mwezi mmoja.
The new data commissioner, after Parliament's approval, can now define the guidelines for the various sectors that deal with data, amid concerns about the security of the data and privacy.
Lazima sasa vyombo vya serikali na watu wa biashara waanze kuweka teknolojia ile watatumia kwa hii card. Kadi itakuwa na QR code, ni code tu ile unaweza kusoma na simu.
Unaenda huko, unaitishwa huku, naambiwa sijui leta huku, ona wazee, sijui nani, ushenzi kama huu ambao umetusumbua miaka yote. That is why I said that with this now, hiyo story sasa imekwisha.
In January, the High Court ruled that its implementation should not continue without further legislation to guarantee the security of biometric data and to ensure the system is not exclusionary. At least 37.7 million Kenyans have registered for the cards. A second phase of mass registration will be rolled out in April 2021.
All right, from that, let's now get a check of the climbing COVID cases in the country. 957 more people have tested positive for the coronavirus and 11 more people have died from it within just the last 24 hours. These figures are out of a sample size of 5,559. And this now brings the cumulative national count up to 72,686. Out of the new infections, 569 are male and 388 are female. Nairobi continues to record high infections at 368 today, followed by Nyeri at 53, Kitui 41, Kiambu 40 and Kisumu at 37. On a positive note, though, 2,616 more people have recovered from the virus, which raises the total number of recoveries to 49,878. Meanwhile, the national death toll has risen to 1,313. Now, the National BBI Secretariat has once again cancelled the launch of the signatures collection drive that would pave way for a referendum to change the constitution. NTV has learnt some invited guests were called this morning and notified that the event had been cancelled, only to receive a call 30 minutes later asking them to be seated at the KICC by 9 a.m. tomorrow. The BBI Secretariat says it's now been put off again to allow for the publication of the Constitution Amendment Bill 2020 later tonight. NTV's senior political affairs reporter Kennedy Morevi has details of the intrigues surrounding that event.
All seems set for Thursday's BBI signatures collection launch at the KICC, but events preceding the launch had sent mixed signals. In a span of about 30 minutes, some invited guests had been called, told of a postponement of the event, then called again and re-invited. All this while there were more than 4 meetings around Nairobi, planning the event to be presided over by President Uhuru Kenyatta and his handshake partner Raila Odinga. A statement from the National BBI Secretariat this evening indicated that the launch had yet again been cancelled. The statement says the postponement has been necessitated by the late completion and publication of the Constitution Amendment Bill of 2020, which will be done later Wednesday night. Sources indicate there is a team within President Kenyatta's circle that is still pushing for further discussions on the BBI report and believe the moment the signature collection kicks off, the train will have left the station. Raila has been categorical that anyone with a different view should now brace for a fight at the ballot.
There will always be doubting Thomases in any process. And that's why we said if we disagree with it, let us meet in the field. So, sema yako, tuseme yetu, tuonane.
Pwani yote ni BBI. The whole of Nyanza ni BBI. The parts of Rift Valley is BBI. Nearly all. Mnaona? Western Kenya itakuwa BBI. Hiyo mimi nawaambia.
As supporters of BBI focus on ensuring passage of the Constitutional Amendment Bill 2020, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission is still fighting for its voice to be heard. In an open letter to the people of Kenya published in the Daily Nation, the IEBC maintains its concerns were not addressed. The chairman Wafula Chebukati notes the current independent expert model in appointment of chairperson and commissioners should be upheld, as opposed to political parties being involved. He also wants the root cause of negative ethnicity and mistrust amongst politicians addressed. He wants conclusion of electoral legal reforms 2 years to an election. He also wants entrenchment of the IEBC funds in the constitution. Chebukati also wants the electoral laws less prescriptive to enable the commission in flexibility and administration of its roles. He also wants an engagement between the IEBC and political parties through the Political Parties Liaison Committee. Kennedy Muredhi, NTV.
Certainly a story that we will be following, and we'll bring you up to speed with any further changes. All right, now let's bring out tonight's strikers in our team coverage. And picking up from Kennedy Muredhi's report on the, quote, unstoppable reggae train, Olive Burrows now reports that this is not music to everyone's ears. The search for political expediency in a pandemic has left a bad taste in the mouths of many. Critics of the timing and apparently bullish push of the Building Bridges initiative say it should fall lower on the priority scale when there are more pressing needs and no less than a pandemic.
Dearly beloved, we're gathered here today to say goodbye to the dear departed. Over the past few weeks, cries like these pierced the air as lovers, children, mothers, fathers, siblings and friends laid their loved ones to rest. What were previously manageable cases of high blood sugar or pressure proving fatal on coming into contact with the coronavirus. And what is already a precarious situation threatens to turn into a catastrophe if doctors strike over the government failure to provide them with personal protective equipment with which to do battle with the virus or insurance cover when they get wounded on the battlefront.
The idea that NHIF cannot pay for vulnerable Kenyans in the event that they get sick, but we have money to run around collecting signatures. We have money to run a referendum. We have money to set up a secretariat. It shows the height, the level of impunity, the level of complete and total disregard of the Kenyans as our people.
The consequences of COVID-19 that we are experiencing are as a result of failure of governance.
But as Kenyans die from COVID for want of oxygen, unable to access hospital beds, as Kenyans are forced to pay out of pocket for COVID treatment despite having lost their sources of income to the virus, the political discourse is focused on the political aspirations of a few.
If there is 2 billion to take to the referendum, kindly take the 2 billion to buy PPEs for the soldiers, the frontline soldiers, who is our doctors and our nurses, but not to a referendum, because the referendum can wait. I mean, nobody is going to die if we don't have this referendum. People will die if we don't take this COVID seriously.
You know, people are bound to look at how they feel right now in terms of the risks, the health risks we face, the economic risks we face, and the economic experience that we are going through. We are bound to look at those and want to see immediate public attention, immediate government attention, immediate political attention to those ones.
Yet the same government that flogs its citizens in the streets then extorts them for not wearing masks is the same government that is hell-bent on exposing an already vulnerable population to the virus, come hell or high water.
As people say they want to engage in other activities on the political scene, for instance, do they want some of these things to hit home for it to register?
Forcing people right now to sign on a document somebody else has been touching, that is spreading the virus. This virus is about touching. That's why we are saying sanitize.
So inevitably, the BBI process will suffer a credibility crisis unless the promoters demonstrate a direct link between the health welfare of the people, the economic welfare of the people, and what is being proposed in this BBI package.
And even the institutions that Kenyans should be able to rely upon to champion their cause have shown that when push comes to shove, it's every man for himself.
Look at the county facilities out there, do not even have oxygen. We were requesting, and I managed to talk to the clerk of this National Assembly, that be given, we should have a hotline for helicopter just in case.
The opposition that Kenyans had come to rely on to hold government to account on matters corruption now shout down those who may dare demand accountability. The BBI, we've been told, is urgent because thousands could die come 2022 should more people not be incorporated into government. Question is, what about those who already can't breathe? Olive Barrows, NTV.
What a moving story. And while all the controversy and questions are debated, some of those who hope that the urgent issues should be treated as such are indeed the healthcare workers. Right, Ngina?
Smriti, they have been into the battlefield and have left wounded, some fatally. Healthcare workers feel that some of the initiatives by the leaders are an insult to them, their profession and the country at large. They say some of the government's responses have left frontline soldiers with more battles to fight than they ought to and have been equipped for.
With 2,369 healthcare workers testing positive, 30 dead, and now a looming strike by doctors, a dark cloud hangs over Kenya's healthcare sector. But how did we get here?
So one is lack of adequate personal protective equipment and standard personal protective equipment. And there's of course another shortage of healthcare workers, and the shortage of doctors in our country is real, where those who've turned positive and are symptomatic are equally working. What's the next thing? If the patient turns positive and you turn positive, it means you have more healthcare workers who've turned positive.
Dr. Machonda knows a thing or two about battling the pandemic on the front line on a more personal level.
I think it's the toughest period I've had this year when I contracted COVID. It's a lonely disease because when you're sick, people come and see you, but in this case, no one really comes to see you. And I think at some point, I'd given up. I was like, I don't think I'm going to make it.
Dr. Jacqueline Joroge, Dr. Robert Ayisi, Dr. Emara Ashraf, Dr. Doreen Lugalaki. These are some of the faces of the doctors that paid the ultimate price in the battle against the virus. Their death, the straw that broke the camel's back, and doctors cannot take it anymore. A strike is imminent. Among the doctors' demands are the provision of standard and adequate PPEs in all health facilities in the country, the provision of a comprehensive medical cover for all doctors, and the employment of 2,000 doctors out of employment, and a review of contract terms to permanent and pensionable. While the situation in the capital is dire, it is reportedly more deplorable in the counties, with healthcare workers receiving between 1 to 2 masks each day, despite the high-risk environments they operate in. The thin line between life and death has taken a hit on the health sector, and more so, the families that have been left behind by those that paid the ultimate price.
Well, while the medics await the doses they have been prescribed to, or rather that they have prescribed to the government, there is another dose that not only Kenyans are waiting for, but the world at large. Kevin?
Yes, two promising vaccine candidates are at key stages of approval around the world, and pharmaceutical giant Pfizer now says it is seeking approval for its emergency use of their vaccine. Here in Kenya, the search for a local jab is still in the early stages of clinical trials. Kenya's efforts toward developing a potential COVID-19 vaccine may take longer than expected if studies at the Kenya Medical Research Institute Wellcome Trust in Kilifi County are to go by. Scientists are projecting that the trials program for the Chardoc's COVID-19 vaccine to ascertain its efficacy may take up to 2 years. Early stages of human trials are underway, involving 40 volunteers.
The 2 years allows you to recruit the number of participants that you've targeted
which is 400 in total for both phases, and allows you time to sort of analyze the data to be able to work out through the standard processes that we use for the data analysis, whether you met the trial objectives. And that information then feeds to this global effort that then supports the licensure of the product. And it is important, the data we generate here will be important for the eventual registration and use of this vaccine in our population.
In Africa, evaluation of the vaccine is being conducted only in Kenya and South Africa, despite the growing global demand for a solution to arrest soaring coronavirus infections. This signals that countries banking on these efforts may wait longer before the vaccine is available. Then there is the question of storage and transportation. The leading Pfizer vaccine requiring temperatures of -94 degrees.
All these vaccines use different technologies which have different properties in terms of storage. And so what we have as an ideal is a vaccine that is easy to deploy.
Several fallacies on potential suppression of the virus, either by use of mouthwash, herbal medicines, or even mustard oil, have been reported in some countries. However, there are no studies to prove their efficiency against the novel coronavirus. So far, Pfizer's potential vaccine has passed phase 3 of clinical trials, with a 95% effectiveness against COVID-19 beginning 28 days after the first dose. The company expects to produce up to 50 million doses in 2020 and up to 1.3 billion doses by the end of 2021. But richer economies are already ordering millions of doses as poor nations wait. Pfizer is confident its vast cold chain infrastructure will effectively distribute the vaccine around the world.
It is important for vaccines to be shown to work in all populations. This disease is affecting multiple populations, including our population. So we want to evaluate whether the performance of the vaccine in our population is similar to what's happening elsewhere. So it is the same vaccine that we received from the University of Oxford to evaluate in Kenya.
But as the search continues, the Kenyan government is insisting on not rushing to purchase any foreign vaccines, at least until their efficacy is ascertained. So, Smriti, like the rest of the world, it's just a matter of waiting and watching.
That's right, Kevin. Thanks very much. And until we get more information, we've got to keep washing our hands, sanitizing, wearing our masks, and of course, social distancing. All right, you are watching NTV Tonight. This is team coverage and it continues after this break. Do stay with us. We'll be back in just a moment.
Asante sana. Sasa, ni nini kingine ambacho unaweza kumfanyia msichana wetu?
Kila kitu. Hata kufua nguo na Ariel mpya. Unaniamini sasa?
Ariel huondoa madoa sugu kwa mwosho mmoja. Ijaribu leo uamini.
Mzungu alikuja hapo kitambo akapata watu wanachimba gold. Is this a gold mine? Then Muluya akasikia akasema, hii ni kolomani.
Fun and food got together beautifully at GMC Place. Enjoy our succulent meals in a serene setting with a varied choice of fun games for the little ones. Cup it up with a cuppa or a cocktail, all available to your taste. Make your reservation today on 0701 560 560.
GoTV's everyone's favorite place this festive. A place to connect.
Showtime.
A place of endless possibilities. A place of victory. A place where friendship means everything. Where you find love in its purest form.
GoTV's everyone's favorite place this festive. Download my GoTV app to easily manage your account on the go. Stay connected for the best of local and international entertainment for the whole family. GoTV. Love it.
Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka. Sona moja ina aspirin kama kiungo. Sona moja, kitulizo kamili. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
Honestly, babe, what is chai bila maziwa?
I know, darling. Like this lactose-free milk. Is it even real milk?
Why don't you ask the expert, me? Gold Crown lactose-free milk is 100% natural cow's milk. The only difference is that the lactose in the milk has already been broken down, making it easier to digest. So no more funny feelings in the tummy.
Wow, and it tastes just like regular milk.
Because it is, and you've heard it from the cow's mouth.
What a relief. Thank you, Gold Crown.
If regular milk makes you feel uncomfortable, try Gold Crown lactose-free milk. Milk that loves you.
For a better tomorrow, don't forget to do the 1, 2, 3 with Colgate every night.
Cocoa, Kenya's highest saving, longest lasting and biggest Jiko cooks fast using half the charcoal compared to other Jikos. So you use less fuel and receive extra savings. Enjoy our great discounts and save an extra 500 Kenya shillings when you buy Jiko Cocoa at your nearest shopping outlet.
Every time Gran arrives, she always has a small reward for her.
I made this for you today.
Ah, thank you, my baby. It's so beautiful.
Wow!
She's happy, and I trust it because it's made with milk and other carefully controlled ingredients without any colorings or preservatives. Care has been taken to make it. I love to see her happy because it meets her taste and fantasy. Kinder Joy, my trust, their joy.
Fact Finder from the BBC. More Africans are going online, but how do they access information with low speeds and internet shutdowns? A Kenyan MP wants to police Facebook and WhatsApp groups due to offensive content online. So, is your phone listening to you? Myth or fact? We'll find out.
Get your value-added plot today by cash or through our installment plan. Call us today on 0790 300 300.
Optiven Limited, the pay-saters in real estate.
Welcome back to the broadcast. Team coverage continues. And as a solution to the coronavirus is sought as we head in Kevin Mutai's story, there is another quagmire, a dilemma on the way forward in schools. Leila.
School situation is providing a tough examination for the government, teachers, parents and guardians. The infections are rising and so are the deaths. Another principal, and this time in Sikosi boys in Bungama, succumbed to COVID-19 while receiving treatment in hospital. Many are now calling for schools to be closed, saying that the children are safer at home. But the reality is that some would much rather stay at school because at home they are anything but home.
The new academic calendar begins in early January 2021, with the ministry proposing a 4-term system with fewer breaks for the next 2 years before things get back to normal. The Education Ministry now says that plans towards a full reopening are in high gear amid the outbreak in learning institutions.
We must learn to live with it. It is inconceivable to say the children should stay at home for years until corona is under control.
I know it is difficult, especially for the parents. When you have a child in school, you don't know what is happening in that school. You feel hopeless. But I think if really we do the right thing, the right guidelines for these people, we should manage not to close the schools. But for schools that are affected, do they have the capacity to quarantine those children and isolate the positive cases?
Public health experts note that the overriding concern is to arrest community infections, which is fueling an outbreak in schools.
We have only 6 weeks to January. And this one is an endemic disease. By January, we're still going to have some pockets of the disease if we behave properly. If we don't behave properly, we are going to have a full-blown epidemic in this country, because that is what is happening. It is actually a personal and a community responsibility.
Cases have also risen within the communities, so we
we can't really attribute the cases in schools to school reopening. I still think that maybe we were not right to bring the 3 classes. Maybe we should have brought a few more.
With TSC rolling out an improved medical cover for teachers, some of whom have been killed by COVID-19, the ministry now says all learners will be taken care of as well.
We are going to take a very firm position as government to ensure that as government pays for children to be treated in hospital, COVID must be.
I remember there's a question which we posed that time about the boarding schools. Were there guidelines? Were these children taught through health education, a targeted health education program for these children so that they understand what they're supposed to do when they are together in the school at night?
Then there is private schools headache and what that would mean going forward.
We know that some private schools have even closed permanently and say they are not going to reopen because they are overwhelmed by what is happening right now. And so the pressure on public schools is going to increase when schools reopen. But I still feel that in the end, we are going to end up with a new calendar year, a new school calendar that allows the year to begin in September so that we have the 2 terms of January to April and May to July to try and address the confusion that is there right now in the school calendar.
Well, like experts say, if we continue to behave abnormally, then COVID will test us to the core. So this gives us a lot of consciousness on the value of life. Counting the cost is inevitable, and counting the cost of treatment is a painful thing. Alex?
That's correct, Leila. 8 months into the COVID-19 pandemic, the government has finally rolled out a comprehensive cover for civil servants and employees of the National Youth Service. This comes after numerous questions around the provision of insurance coverage for persons who are infected with the ravaging virus. Let's take a look at the delicate financial balancing act for government and the private sector that has been brought about by the pandemic. Official data shows that only 2 of every 10 Kenyans have some form of medical cover, painting the picture of the dire situation majority find themselves in as they rely on out-of-pocket expenditure to service their medical bills. The COVID-19 pandemic has amplified the visibility of this challenge. The low-key and lackluster launch of the comprehensive cover for civil servants and employees of the National Youth Service is perhaps a microcosm of the difficult position the government finds itself in financially, even as it puts its best foot forward to protect those in the front line of the fight against COVID-19.
Currently, the National Treasury and Planning pays an annual premium of Kenya shilling 839 million for last expense cover, but has no other cover whatsoever for group life, group personal accident, WIBA, and even a situation like we are being confronted with like COVID. Under this new scheme, civil servants and employees of the National Youth Service will for the first time have a comprehensive insurance cover with a total annual premium of Kenya shillings 6.07 billion every year.
With this 6.1 billion shilling injection per annum, the government hopes to forestall any industrial action by civil servants in the near future, particularly from those in the medical fraternity. Even as the government failed to disclose the partners involved in underwriting the risk presented by this cover, it goes without saying that insuring patients against COVID-19 holds a very real chance of bankrupting insurance companies.
These claims can rise to very high levels. If you were to take, for example, the number that has been reported at 60,000 currently infections at a cost of 500,000 per person who is infected, that would give us 30 billion shillings. And no insurance company in this country would be able to pay such claims.
And what we did was, first of all, to establish what it would cost to treat a COVID-related claim in some of the high-cost hospitals. And the number that came through was anywhere between 750,000 to 1.5 million.
The comprehensive insurance cover will involve a co-insurance model of about 30 insurance companies. The new scheme has over 14 new categories of cover. Alex Mwangi, NTV.
Counting the cost beyond the financial part of it is a reality that all need to be alive to. Smriti?
Yeah, we certainly do, Alex. Thanks very much indeed. And thanks to the entire team that took part in team coverage tonight, bringing out the key issues surrounding the COVID-19 pandemic and everything that comes with it. Join us again next Wednesday for more. All right, at this point in the broadcast, we've got to take a quick break, but do stay with us. I'll be back in just a moment.
The aerial challenge is moving across Kenya, improving Kenyans' lives by saving them money, offering brilliant stain removal in one wash.
Wino ni mojawapo wa madoa sugu ambayo hayatoki kwa nguo, sio?
Let us see which detergent removes stubborn stains.
Na tofauti kwa hizi vitambaa zangu mbili. Kitambaa gani imeokoa pesa kina mama? Napenda hilo kwa sababu mwosho wake ni mmoja tu. Hata ndio hii nimenunua mara yangu ya kwanza.
Watch out for the aerial challenge coming to a town near you.
Miaka 20 safari anza ya kutunganisha kama Wakenya. Twende tukiuke, twende tukiuke. Let's go beyond, let's go beyond. Let's go beyond. Mimi na wewe tukibuni kazi nzuri ya kujivunia. Let's go beyond, let's go beyond. Kwa juhudi na matumaini twaelekea kesho pamoja. Twende tukiuke, twende tukiuke. Safaricom.
Bank wakasema mwenye ako na loan tuende kwa bank. Mtu vile alikuwa amechukua loan yake kiwango yake akareduciwa. Sasa ingekuwa maisha ni ngumu kabisa. Sasa nimekuwa marafiki na Equity Bank kabisa.
Rock Industries brings you rock plastic with a variety of kitchenware, ranging from kitchen dishes, cups, plates, clothesline pegs, spoons, and even rulers for learners. All this coming in your preferred size, beautiful colors and texture, and our products are one shop away from where you are across the country. All Rock Industries Limited products are 100% virgin raw material that is cost-friendly. For these and more products, contact our offices on 0722 575619 or 0736-02-8181. You can also visit our offices in Industrial Area, Ndume Road, off Lunga Lunga Road, Nairobi.
Do your gums hurt? Yeah. Does your toothpaste contain sage, eucalyptus, myrrh, chamomile? All that in one toothpaste? Yes, try Colgate Herbal. Colgate Herbal contains nature's best herbs and Colgate's fluoride technology to give you strong teeth and healthy gums. Ah, Colgate Herbal. Let's go. Colgate Herbal for strong teeth and healthy gums naturally.
With you. I even gifted you a magnificent house.
Rosa, it's the thought that counts. Please help me.
When it comes to fever, you need to be both. Panadol Baby and Infant starts to work on fever in 15 minutes and is gentle on the tummy. Panadol Baby and Infant, tough on fever, gentle on your child.
Ah, Helen Paul.
Hello, madam. Would you like to join us on this mission?
Yes, but how?
Just one question for you. How do you keep your toilet clean?
I use regular detergent and bleach for washing and removing yellow stains. I've been using it for years.
Oh, madam, the regular detergents and bleach are used for washing clothes. To disinfect your toilet properly, you need Harpic 10X. It is specially made for germs and stains removal. Harpic's thick formula settles on stains and gives 10 times better cleaning compared to regular detergents and bleach.
Wow, now I'm convinced, Helen Paul.
Really?
Yeah.
Now that she's part of the mission, the next house is yours.
Namba anayokumbuka pekee ni *334# kwa sababu namba zingine za paybill ziko M-Pesa. Dial *334#, select 6 for lipa na M-Pesa, then select what you're paying for. You can now shop, pay for transport and parking, pay for county licenses and so much more. Kwa kuweka kila kitu kwa namba moja, tumerahisisha mambo ili uweze kuendelea kufanya vitu unavyopenda ukitumia M-Pesa.
Welcome back. I've got the business news lined up for you. Cash-strapped listed cement manufacturer East African Portland Cement is looking to raise at least 10 billion shillings through asset disposal as it seeks to settle arrears of a credit facility sourced from KCB Group and get back on sound business footing. The company, which sank into a 3.4 billion shilling loss in the year ended June 2019, is grappling with high finance costs, which last stood at 692 million shillings, necessitating re-engagement with KCB Group on its loan. East African Portland Cement's management says it is in the process of identifying a buyer for the 2,076 acres parcel of land to be disposed.
Which we are supposed to dispose, raise funds from the disposal, or basically the proceeds of the disposal to be utilized to defray the indebtedness with KCB and give the company a new footing.
ABSA Kenya's net earnings for the period ended September 2020 stood at 1.9 billion shillings. That's a 65.4% plunge compared to the same period in 2019. The bank's bottom took a hit from the enhanced provisioning of bad debt, which saw its loan loss provisions grow by 146.7% year on year to close the period under review at 7.6 billion shillings. The bank has now completed the transition from Barclays Kenya, which has been booked into the last financials at a cost of 1.9 billion shillings. In the period under review, the bank's loan book grew from 194 billion shillings to 209 billion shillings, with the bank having restructured loans worth 63 billion shillings since the start of COVID-19. Kenya will join the rest of the continent in marking the Africa Industrialization Day on Friday this week, even as the sector repurposes itself to meet the operating environment precipitated by COVID-19. Trade and Industrialization Chief Administrative Secretary, that's Lawrence Karanja, says that the manufacturing sector is still on track to meet the targets set out by the Big Four agenda, in spite of the headwinds faced in 2020. Karanja has played down concerns around Kenya's competitiveness within the East Africa manufacturing landscape, saying the operating environment in Kenya remains relatively more attractive for investors.
We always give them, when they are importing tools and equipment and they ask for exemption of duty, we always make the recommendation, and many of them have been given those exemptions by the Treasury. Therefore, when they are setting up the factory, there are also good incentives for them to set up their factories in Kenya.
Now, the annual Employers Conference of 2020 kicked off this morning with a focus on resilience by businesses in light of the disruption caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. The conference, which comes on the back of the doubling of Kenya's unemployment rate between March and June 2020, called upon private and public sector players to work together towards a favourable business environment. The three-day-long conference also seeks to highlight the evolving demands on human capital and agility of the labour force.
To create an enabling environment to create jobs, the government also has been heavily investing in provision of affordable and regular electricity, which drives production, support training of skilled workforce, and improvement of infrastructure to make it easy for quicker transport of goods, conducive taxation regime, easing up licensing requirement by reducing the number of licenses required to start a business.
And that's your business news. We're taking a short break. Stay with us.
Miaka 20 safari ilianza ya kutuunganisha kama Wakenya. Twende tukiuke, twende tukiuke. Let's go beyond, let's go beyond. Let's go beyond. Mimi na wewe tukibuni kazi nzuri ya kujivunia. Let's go beyond, let's go beyond. Kwa juhudi na matumaini, twaelekea kesho pamoja. Twende tukiuke, twende tukiuke. Safaricom.
When the schools shut, the textile sector came to a halt. We have a workforce of over 300 people that we need to support, and the orders were just cancelled overnight. If we had not gone into PPEs right now, we wouldn't be having this opportunity to tell the story of how Equity helped the local sector by procuring locally. Basically, 100% of PPEs were being imported. I don't think a single local textile industry had thought of manufacturing PPEs. So with Equity coming in, we were able to retrain and repurpose a lot of our labor force. And on top of that, we hired an extra 50 to 100 people when the orders got a bit higher. What the local manufacturers achieved, it shows the Kenyan spirit. We were there to protect our front line, which was helping fight this pandemic. And not only did we fight, we made it a product that meets international levels. There's a lot more that we can do locally. Let's explore and let's see what we can do.
Kira! Kira? Where are you?
Malaria!
That's why you need the superior protection of Mortein 360-degree reach. Only this has 11 fans which enable it to reach the farthest corners. Mortein, total indoor protection.
From far with you. I even gifted you a magnificent house. Rosa, it's the thought that counts. Please help me.
When it comes to fever, you need to be both. Panadol Baby and Infant starts to work on fever in 15 minutes and is gentle on the tummy. Panadol Baby and Infant, tough on fever, gentle on your child.
We'll take nothing for granted and always remember to taste the simple joys.
Enjoy the magic of Christmas with Coca-Cola.
Na 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 na.
Nestle Ceravita with Grain Smart, a smart combination of vitamins, iron, and minerals that gives children the nutrients they need for a great start for school. New Nestle Ceravita with Grain Smart, also available in a small affordable pack.
Jiko, Kenya's highest saving, longest lasting, and biggest Jiko cooks fast using half the charcoal compared to other Jikos, so you use less fuel and receive extra savings. Enjoy our great discounts and save an extra 500 Kenya shillings when you buy Jiko at your nearest shopping outlet.
Welcome back, and we kick off with some disturbing news. A 4-day-old and her 3-year-old brother are in hospital here in Nairobi after they were allegedly defiled by their stepfather. Well, this is just the latest in a growing list of incidences of sexual abuse in the hands of loved ones. Naoma Sampao has that story.
On Saturday, Shamim, not her real name, welcomed her bundle of joy, who came into the world much earlier than she had been anticipated. Like every mother, she was excited to introduce the new member to the family. 2 days later, she says she left her children, the newborn and her 3-year-old brother, in the hands of their protector, their stepfather.
Niliacha baba wa kambo na mtoto ilikuwa masaa 8. Nikaenda sokoni kumnunulia manguo juu sikuwa nimemnunulia manguo.
But their protector would turn tormentor. Their soft protests did not matter to the man intent on speaking the language of the unforgivable. Her 3-year-old son had told her what their father had done, but she didn't believe him.
Naona tu mtu ananusa vidole, akipaka kidole mate. Sasa sikujua anafanyia nini mtoto. Mchenchi mtoto pampers naona akona cut. Ndo akili kanikujia. Sasa alikuwa ananusa vidole, akipaka mate, kumbe alikuwa anafanya nini? Anamuingizia vidole.
Though she was angry, she politely asked the children's stepfather to accompany her to the hospital. The doctor who examined her children confirmed her worst fears. The hospital then called the police and he was arrested.
Imeniuma hata paka leo mimi nakaa tu hivi lakini najidharau. Najiona kama si mimi kuingiza watoto wangu pale hawangepitia shida kama hizo. Nilikuwa na wasiwasi na kijana wangu, sasa naona Kenya amemfanyia labda huenda akakuwa amemharibu kuwa mwanaume tena.
The number of child victims of sexual abuse have been jarring, especially since schools closed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Just yesterday, NTV reported a case of a father in Baringo who defiled and impregnated his 14-year-old daughter, then forced her to procure an abortion.
Between March and end of October, just this year, we've had 2,810 cases of gender-based violence, 65% of them being children.
For this lady, nothing can erase the pain that she has felt in the last 3 days. However, she hopes she can find justice for her 2 children. Naoma Sampao, NTV.
May our children be protected, and may those in charge of protecting our children just please do that, protect them. All right, so it's really a difficult story. Let's shift focus now from that. And the only white giraffe in the world has been fitted with a GPS tracking device at the Ishkabinai Herola Community Conservancy in Garissa County. Conservationists say the device would give hourly updates in the rare male giraffe's whereabouts, allowing rangers to monitor its movements in real time. The device aims to deter poachers who had killed 2 of the giraffe's family members, a female and a calf, in March. The family has a rare genetic trait called leucism, which inhibits skin cells from producing pigment, therefore leaving the giraffe with a ghostly white skin color. The tracking device was attached to one of the giraffe's horns early this month and hopes to boost conservation efforts. Time for a break now. The sports news is up next. Stay with us.
Safaricom wanasherehekea miaka 20 na wewe. Piga star 444 star 20 hasi. Tumia shilingi 20 pekee utunukiwe 20 minutes na 20 MB.
Borrow an emergency fund and save for a new home with our long-term, short-term, business and group loan products. We will help you meet your goals. Call us today on 0703 024 000.
We are a reflection of you. We are a stable, financially sound institution providing tailor-made services to add value to your life, time and money. We are guided by your aspiration. We are Stima Sacco, a true reflection of you.
Rock Plastic Tips. Rock plastics are made with 100% virgin raw material. Rock plastics come with new and different unique designs.
Rock Industries brings you rock plastic with a variety of kitchenware, ranging from kitchen dishes, cups, plates, clothesline pegs, spoons, and even rulers for learners. These and more products, contact our offices on 0722 575619 or 0736 02 8181.
Even if you do not use credit as often, it is good to have the ability to do so in the event of an emergency, as well as help establish a good credit rating and a subsequent possibility of obtaining additional credit. Visit www.stimasacco.com/credit products/ for more information.
We are a reflection of you. We are a stable, financially sound institution providing tailor-made services to add value to your life, time and money. We are guided by your aspiration. We are Stima Sacco, a true reflection of you.
Pata kila kitu upendacho kwa M-Pesa kupitia star 334 hash.
Chrissy Bila worries. Chrissy na Naivas is now on with the biggest and tastiest offers this festive season. Every day, 350 winners Kula shopping voucher worth 2,000 shillings. All you need to do is simply present your Naivas card when you shop for your chance to be one of the winners. Naivas saves you money.
Fact Finder from the BBC. More Africans are going online, but how do they access information with low speeds and internet shutdowns? A Kenyan MP wants to police Facebook and WhatsApp groups due to offensive content online. So, is your phone listening to you? Myth or fact? We'll find out.
Get your value-added plots today by cash or through our installment plan. Call us today on 0790 300 300.
Optiven Limited, the pay-saters in real estate.
Thanks for staying with us. The sports news now, and a team comprising 7 club representatives has been established to run the Kenyan Premier League. Football Kenya Federation National Executive Committee passed the resolution to establish the Premier League Management Committee, or PMC. According to FKF, the PMC will oversee the running of the FKF Premier League, maintain its independence and safeguard the interests of all participating clubs. It will be chaired by KCB chairperson Azu Ogola, with Dan Shikanda of AFC Leopards, Robert Mauga of Kariobangi Sharks, Western Steamers Laban Jobita, John Terry of Posta Rangers, Sofapaka's Eli Kalekwa and Dennis Gisheru of Wazito comprising the committee members. It is now down to math, very hard math at that, if the Harambee Stars are to book a ticket to Cameroon for the 2022 Africa Cup of Nations. The Group G dynamics were already complicated after Kenya dropped crucial points against Comoros home and away. The risk of missing the continental competition became more apparent after Egypt completed the double over Togo, beating them 3-1 in Lomé to go top on 8 points. On Saturday, Egypt beating Togo 1-0. The results leave Kenya in third on as many points and can only hope that Egypt and Comoros drop maximum points and they win the remaining matches. Harambee Stars will host Egypt in March next year before playing Togo away in their last match.
There's a chance for one more. It's come all the way across.
World Cup qualifying in CONMEBOL saw round 4 take place on Tuesday, with all 10 national teams in action as Brazil and Argentina earned impressive road wins. Meanwhile, the biggest surprise was Ecuador destroying Colombia 6-1. The attack is currently the highest scoring in South America. They jumped out to a 4-0 lead in the first half and even scored a goal after going down to 10 men. Robert Arboleda, Angel Mena, Mikel Estrada and Xavier Arriaga scored in the first half before James Rodriguez pulled one back for Colombia. Gonzalo Plata scored a 5th before he was sent off as Pervis Estupinan, I hope I got that right, rounded off the win. Ecuador have 9 points after 4 matches.
El penal en favor de Colombia. Se alista el zurdo James Rodríguez. Otra vez la cuega Estupiñán. Levantaron el servicio. Remate Estrada adentro. Creo que en fuera.
Sí. Se vio adentro. Yo
se vio adentro. Yo la vi adentro.
Sí.
Yeah, we don't understand that commentating, but it sounded pretty entertaining anyway. Brazil continued their perfect start to World Cup qualifying with a 2-0 win over Uruguay in Montevideo. Everton forward Richarlison was on the score sheet as Manchester United, I bet I got that wrong, striker Edison Cavani was sent off. Juventus midfielder Arthur Melo opened the scoring before Richarlison headed in a second on the stroke of half-time. Uruguay were without Luis Suarez after he tested positive for COVID-19, and victory maintains Brazil's 100% winning record in the South American qualifiers for the Qatar 2022 World Cup. The top 4 teams will qualify automatically, but the 5th place team will enter an inter-regional playoff.
Pagando. Arboleda adentro. Le queda para Mena, lo vi muy adelantado a Mena. Marcaron a Mena, bola adentro. Gol!
Tunisia and Mali have joined 2019 finalists Senegal holders Algeria as well as hosts Cameroon as the qualified teams for the 2022 Africa Cup of Nations after favourable results in match day 4. Tunisia progressed despite a 1-1 draw against Tanzania in Dar es Salaam, while Mali went through after a 2-1 victory away to Namibia. In Tanzania, the Eagles moved atop Group J on 10 points from 4 matches, and Tanzania moved to third on 4 points, 2 behind second-placed Equatorial Guinea to keep their qualification hopes alive. A second-half charge by the Taifa Stars earned them a point, with substitute Faisal Salum's screamer cancelling out Saif Eddin Kahui's first-half opener.
Save by Manula.
And that's all we have time for on the sports news. Thanks very much for watching. All right, and that is also where we close NTV Tonight. David Agondoa has been our sign language interpreter. I'm Smriti Vidyarthi. I'll be back again tomorrow at 1 p.m. Do be sure to join me then. In the meantime,